welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where of course we are going to be building up to Barca's important La Liga game away at Real Oviedo, and we've got all of that team news to come. But at the same time here today, guys, it is a real tough one because we also have to talk about the injury news to Gavi, the injury that has rocked the club right now. It is really, really sad, and there's lots to come on that. So come on, and let's do this. But if we do, first of all, begin with some reaction to the Ballon d'Or, and we're going to do this now, because obviously in the grand scheme of things, you know, the Ballon d'Or rankings, it's all a bit trivial. We are going to talk about much more serious matters here today, but just to talk here a little bit about the Ballon d'Or, obviously Lamine Yamal, in the end, he just missed out to Ousmane Dembele. And to be honest, guys, I'm not actually, heartbroken that Yamal didn't quite win the award. I think in the long term for him, that might actually be a good thing. I think it's important here that Yamal remains very, very hungry, that he remains really, really motivated, and I think it's kind of good in a way that he has a few of these things, like the Ballon d'Or, like the Champions League, like the World Cup, things that he hasn't yet achieved in the game. It's important to keep those goals there. It's important to have things to really strive for. So I think in the long run here, it might even help Yamal to not quite get the award this early, this young in his career. So that wasn't really the one that, fully angered me. But then we move on to Rafinha's ranking in the Ballon d'Or. He finished not first, not second, not third, not fourth, but fifth in the standings. Now, this is for a player who was dominant in the Champions League. Now, forget about the fact that Barca didn't win it. It wasn't his fault. It was absolutely nothing to do with Rafinha, the fact that we didn't make it to the final. That was all about our defence. You've got to remember, this is an individual award. If you want to just give it to every single player who won the Champions League, well, just give this award out after the final. You could have given it to just every PSG player, and we could have called it a day. We all could have saved ourselves sitting through that 2-hour ceremony. Rafinha was unbelievable. There was not 4 players more influential than him last season. Him being fifth is an absolute scandal, guys. You know what I find extraordinary? Last season with Vinicius Jr., when he was, of course, he felt really hard done by, he didn't win the award, Brazil was up in arms about it. You had so many Brazilian players calling out the award, really crying on social media. Where's the support for Rafinha? This is a joke that he finished fifth, and quite honestly, more should be being said about this. But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. That is not even the one that angered me most, because then we have to talk about Pedri. It is laughable. I still cannot believe he finished 11th. 11th. They believe there are 10 better players. There were 10 better players last season than Pedri. Were there? Because I didn't see them. And many, many other players who actually watched matches and understand football will recognise here that Pedri 11th, it's just a scandal. I just don't understand. Where have they plucked that from? What on earth is the criteria that sees him outside of the top 10? He should have been top 5. He should have been top 3, in my opinion. Outside the top 10. I mean, as soon as I saw that, it was like, okay, what is the point of this award? What exactly are we voting for anymore? What is the criteria? What is the Ballon d'Or? I don't even know what this award means anymore. Is it for the most important player in the Champions League winning team? Is it for the player that won the most trophies last season? Is it for the most popular player? Is it for any player that's not wearing a Barca shirt? I just don't know. I just don't know what the award represents anymore, and Pedri 11th was just the nail in the coffin. It's ridiculous, it's stupid, and it's downright unacceptable. However, guys, like I say, there is lots more important things going on here in the game of football than the Ballon d'Or, and as I said there on social media after the award went on, basically what Barca need to do here is win the big titles. Forget about the Ballon d'Or, forget about individual honours. We need to work as a team to win the Champions League, to win La Liga, to make sure that this season is a success. Because if you go and win those titles, we don't care what anybody says. We don't need to be given special awards, special personal honours. If we win those team awards as a group, as a unit, as a club, nobody can touch us, nobody can say a word to us. We will be happy and we will be more than content, and we know we're capable of it. We know what we can do. So that is what we have to strive for here. Come together, work together, have that hunger, have that motivation, and hit back in the only way that we know how. However, guys, over the past 24 hours, this club has been absolutely rocked. Not only the fan base, but inside of the club too, inside of the dressing room right now. They are feeling it, because Gavi, I just can't believe it, he's out for 4 to 5 months. We're talking here about months. And when I saw that official press release there from the club, my heart sank. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, surely somebody's made a mistake here. Somebody has made a typo. We were talking before this operation about 4 to 5 weeks, not 4 to 5 months. And nobody, can I stress this, nobody saw this coming. Gavi went into that operation with the same understanding that we'd all heard in the media, that we'd all been told there, that he was going in for arthroscopic surgery, that it was going to be a very minor procedure, and that after that he would miss 5 weeks of action. But here's what happened. When he went into that surgery, when they opened up the knee, when they had a good look in there, nobody could believe it. It was absolutely shocking, really, for everybody involved. They saw that the cartilage in the knee, the ligaments were affected. There was believed that there was a tear in the meniscus, which is extremely, extremely delicate. And so, of course, they had to treat that there. They had to operate. They did not remove the meniscus. That's a very, very important thing here to note. So the meniscus is still intact right now. That is very, very key, especially looking here at the future for Gavi. But yeah, he went into that surgery thinking, I'm going to be out for a few weeks. He's then told it's 5 months. I mean, think about how he's feeling right now. Think about what emotions went through him. I mean, I just got it. I absolutely just feel so bad about this, because none of us expected it. He didn't expect it. The club didn't expect it. Flick didn't expect it. We've been planning to have Gavi as part of this team, a really important key piece in this team, because obviously we've had to wait a long time for him to get back in the first place. He spent a whole year away from the game, away from this club. We weren't able to call upon him. A player who gives everything, who when he's out there, you know about it. You notice him. He really does put everything on the line for the club. And to lose a player like him for such an amount of time, I mean, that is really, really cruel. And of course, now you're just thinking longer term. You're thinking here, how's that knee going to be? How's it going to recover? How's it going to hold up in the future? To have different operations on the knee, it's obviously not good. We've had a few knee injuries over the past few years at Barca. We know that players can really struggle after these kinds of things. What we have to do now, though, I think mentally, is support Gavi. Because, yeah, he didn't expect this. This would have been a massive shock. Apparently, he did show a lot of emotion after he found out there that it would be a really extended time on the sidelines. And we all have to rally around him. We have to put an arm around him, and as a fan base here, support him every step of the way. Hopefully he'll be back with us as the player that we all know and we all love so much. And all of our strength right now to Gavi in this tough road again of recovery. But yeah, guys, I mean, not easy right now, is it? I thought that things were going too well. I thought that everything at Barca was looking way too rosy. And yeah, we're not back at our stadium, by the way, against Real Sociedad. Just as well throw that in there. I mean, I think we all expected it, to be honest. Again, they found another fault this time. I believe it was due to the escape routes there in case of an emergency. The council were not satisfied with what Barca had done in and around the stadium. So again, that's been pushed back. Barca will play at Montjuic against Real Sociedad and also then against PSG. So that's another thing that we have to consider. But some good news in today's video, guys. Lamine Yamal and Alejandro Balde, they are moving closer to their returns. Now, it is going to come too soon for this game here against Oviedo. That was never really in the plan. But looking at the game at the weekend against Real Sociedad, and then importantly, that game against PSG, they are going to be really striving to be involved there. So that is exciting, and that is good news that hopefully should boost the club right now in a bit of a difficult moment, a bit of a difficult emotional moment here for all of us at Barca. Now, in terms of the lineup that we are going to expect in this game against Oviedo, I think Hansi Flick is going to go pretty strong, because obviously at this point, guys, at this point in time, we cannot afford to be dropping any points, and going away, we saw it away at Levante, we saw it away at Rayo Vallecano. It's not easy. These teams in La Liga, they can cause you problems, you can go behind, you might have to chase the game, so it's important here that we start well, that we start strong as a team, and I wouldn't expect too many changes, really, to the team that we saw beat Getafe and, of course, beat them very, very well indeed. I'm intrigued by the defensive line, though. Are we going to continue to see Eric Garcia at centre-back? We know that Hansi Flick wants him to be involved. Is he going to continue there in this game? Could he even play out right back and give Jules Koundé some rest? So let's see if Eric Garcia continues his streak of being involved in every game so far this season. But I do have a suspicion here that Ronald Araujo might come back into the defence. That's just a feeling that I have here ahead of this game. Araujo could come back in, so could, of course, Pau Kubasi as well. Martin will continue at left back. Then in midfield, are we going to see any sort of rotation? We saw Frankie and Pedri against Getafe. I think, it's likely that we're going to see them once again, because, of course, in this game, guys, we do not have Fermin Lopez. That's another player that's out injured right now. So Dani Olmo is going to be starting in that 10. Rafinha, I think Rashford will come back into the starting lineup, providing that he arrives on time, but apparently he was late by 2 minutes in the game there against Getafe. So, Marcus, get there early. Don't leave it to chance. If you want to be in the lineup, get to training early. You know now that you are running the risk. And then in the number 9 role, I think Ferran's won it back. Ultimately right now, with the way that he's scoring goals, Lewandowski and Ferran, they might exchange that shirt as the season goes on. But I think right here and now, Ferran played well in the last game, scored 2 excellent goals, could have been even more. For me, he starts in this one. And of course, guys, do not forget that against Getafe, we got a score prediction, correct? We went for 3-0, and it actually happened. Can we make it 2 out of 2? Well, I don't know if that's ever happened here on the channel, but hey, let's give it a go. Maybe now is going to be the time, because I'm actually going to go with a big Barca win here. I think we are going to, again, take the lead early on. I think we're going to take the game to Real Oviedo. It's going to be a great occasion for them here, hosting Barca upon their return to La Liga, but I am going to go with a Barca win here by 4-1 on the night. Although I am leaning towards a clean sheet, though, for Joan Garcia once again. But no, let's stick with 4-1. That's where my gut is right now. 4-1 Barca. Let me know your predictions down below, guys. What are you expecting from this game? Would you make any changes to the starting lineup? And please do let me know about that really, really rough news on the Gavi injury, guys. It's been a turbulent week, but let's get the win here, and let's boost our spirits a bit, heading into a very important stretch of big games to come. So I will see you after it. For all of the reaction, thank you indeed for joining me here, but until next time, as always, Veshka, Real Barca.